My name is Ellie Carter, and 2 weeks ago, I inherited my grandmother's Victorian house in the dying town of Blackhollow. The place reeked of mothballs and regret, its walls papered with floral patterns that had browned like old blood. I'd only moved in to sell it, but the realtor warned me, no one buys houses here anymore, not since the disappearances. The attic was the last place I wanted to explore. Its pull-down ladder groaned like a dying thing, and the air upstairs was thick with the smell of damp wood and something sharper. Burnt hair, maybe. That's where I found the journal. It was tucked inside a rusted lockbox under a heap of moth-eaten quilts. The cover was cracked leather, embossed with a symbol I didn't recognize. A circle split by 3 jagged lines. Inside, the pages were filled with hurried handwriting, each entry dated decades apart in different inks. October 12th, 1937. They say the house chooses who stays. Last night, I heard it breathing in the walls. Mama says I'm imagining things, but I saw her name in the journal today. Her entry is next. June 3rd, 1965. Found this under the floorboards. The last entry was my father's. He vanished the day after he wrote it. I tried to burn the book, but the flames turned blue and spat out a voice. You'll finish your story. March 22nd, 2002. The man in the mirror isn't me. He mouths words I can't hear. The journal says my name now. I'm hiding this where it began. God help whoever finds it next. My blood turned to ice. The final entry, dated that morning, read, October 17th, 2023. Ellie Carter. They're in the walls. I laughed, a sick, shaky laugh. Coincidence, surely. My grandmother's senile scribbles. But then the lights flickered, and the attic door slammed shut. When I pried it open, the hallway had changed. The wallpaper was fresh, the air sweet with lavender. A child's laughter echoed from downstairs, a sound this dead house hadn't made in lifetimes. I ran to my car, but the keys were gone. My phone showed no signal, and etched into the fogged-up bathroom mirror was that same jagged symbol, bleeding rust-red liquid that stank of copper. That night, the walls began to whisper. The journal's previous owners all died violently. I spent days in the town's crumbling library, digging through microfiche. In 1937, a girl named Mary Greer vanished from the house after writing about faces in the foundation. In 1965, a man named Thomas Vale was found in his basement, his skin carved with the same symbol. The 2002 entry matched a cold case. College student Lila Nguyen, who'd allegedly drowned herself in the bathtub. Her autopsy noted a detail the press omitted. Her lungs were filled with ash, and clutched in her hand was a page torn from a leather-bound journal. The journal itself was a relay race of doom. Each victim added their entry, then passed it to the next chosen owner. But how did it end up in my attic? The more I read, the more the house warped. Rooms rearranged overnight. My reflection blinked out of sync. Once, I woke to find the journal open on my chest, my own hand gripping a pen, the tip hovering over a fresh page. I'd written half a sentence. They don't want me to leave. I tried destroying the journal. A knife glanced off its cover like steel on diamond. Fire made the pages glow, words rearranging into threats. Burn us and we'll wear your skin. Then the photographs started appearing. Black and white Polaroids slid under my door each dawn. The first showed me sleeping, a shadowy figure looming over the bed, its fingers elongated and clawed. The next, me staring out the kitchen window, but in the reflection, my face was a blurred smudge. The last photo stopped my heart. Me, lying dead in the attic, my throat slit, the journal resting on my chest, scrawled on the back, "Finish your entry." I reached out to Lila Nguyen's brother, Marcus, the only family member who'd answer my calls. "You need to get out of that house now," he hissed. Lila told me about the journal. She said it's a contract. You write your story, you die. You refuse, and it rewrites you. What does that mean? The line crackled. She said the house gets hungrier each time. The last owner, it didn't just kill them, it replaced them. That night, I found the hidden room. Behind the attic wall, buried under plaster and rot, was a space no bigger than a coffin. Its walls were covered in names: Mary, Thomas, Lila, scratched into the wood. At the center hung a mirror, its glass blackened. When I touched it, the surface rippled like water, and a hand shot out, skeletal and grasping. I screamed, falling back as the journal flew open. Words burned onto a blank page. "Ellie Carter, your story ends at the red tree." The red tree was local legend, a gnarled oak deep in the woods where settlers hanged witches. No one who went there ever returned, but the journal wasn't asking. The woods swallowed the path behind me as I walked. The tree stood in a clearing, its branches bare despite the season, its trunk split open like a wound. At its base lay a pile of bones and fresh, glistening organs. The journal trembled in my hands. "Write," the wind hissed. I uncapped my pen. The pages writhed, hungry. I wrote the truth. "I'm at the red tree. I don't want to die." The journal erupted. Pages flapped like wings, ink swirling into a vortex. The ground split, and the tree's roots lashed around my ankles, dragging me toward the trunk. Inside the hollow was a tunnel, walls pulsing with veins. It led to a cavern where 7 figures knelt, their faces familiar: Mary, Thomas, Lila, others I'd read about. Their bodies were fused to the earth, mouths sewn shut with thorny vines. At the center stood a figure made of shadows and static. It held a quill dipped in black liquid. "Your story is ours now," it intoned, voices overlapping. My grandmother's, my own, 100 strangers. I ran, but the tunnel collapsed. The journal appeared in my hands, open to my entry. Words morphed. Ellie Carter, died screaming in the dark, 2023. "No!" I slashed the page with my pen. Ink sprayed like blood, and the creature shrieked. The cavern trembled. A hand grabbed mine. "Marcus, Lila's journal entry," he panted. "She never finished hers. That's how I survived." Together we scratched out my name. The creature howled, roots retreating. We fled as the cavern caved in. But the house was waiting. Marcus vanished mid-sentence, his scream cut short. The journal lay on my bed, pristine, my entry restored. "Ellie Carter, they're in the walls." I finally understood. The journal wasn't a curse. It was a loop. Every owner before me had tried to cheat it. Everyone had failed. So I did the one thing they hadn't. I wrote a new entry. Ellie Carter, she lived. The house screamed. Windows shattered. The journal burst into flames, its ashes scattering like black snow. For a week, I slept in motels, sold the house, moved across the country. Then, this morning, a package arrived. No return address. Inside was a leather-bound journal. The first entry: October 30th, 2023. Ellie Carter. You can't outrun your story. And under my bed, Something scratched the floorboards.